What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and to this overview of the latest plugin from Audiomodern, which is Gatelab. And this is a fantastic plugin. It's advertised more as a gate plugin, but it can do so much more. It's less of a traditional gate plugin like a tremolo type of effect and more of a creative thing, and it has some cool stereo features that we'll go into. But for now, let's actually hear it in action and then go over some of the basic settings. So this is the pad that I have here to work with. And with the Initialize preset of Gatelab, it sounds like this. So straight out of the box, it's cool. But let's go over the main features, and I'll go with these quote-unquote boring things at the beginning. On top, you have the learn function, the MIDI learn. You can map all of this stuff to whatever device you're using. Then you have the tempo, redo, undo. You can name your presets, and these will be here, so you can add presets if you like this type of pattern. You can just save it here, which is quite cool. And then you have the basic settings and the resize function. This is vector based, so you will be able to resize it to your heart's content. Then in a similar way to these basic settings, there's also the reset button, so you click there and that's the end of it. And I think we should also check out who the people who made this fantastic plugin are. So shout out to these lovely people. And then we have kind of the biggest button on the interface, which is this one here, which is the Randomize button. So if you click here, it just randomizes the pattern that you see on these two sequencers. And these are either mono, so you can just have one straight down the middle, or stereo, and you can get something like this. Which is quite cool, and it can lead to a lot of creative ideas. And the cool thing about this Randomize button is it's directly linked to this. So from left to right, you get more of these elements added to the sequence. So for instance, here, if I just click Randomize, you have quite a few gaps. Then on the last one, it's almost everything. So in between is probably where we'll operate today, but just be aware that this is quite a powerful tool when it comes to generating these random patterns. And also next to these is the direction. So you can either go from left to right, which is this, from right to left, or both. For now, I'm going to keep it on left to right. And then next to it, you have the bypass button. It's not necessarily obvious what it is, but if you click on it while it's playing, it's going to stop playing. And also has this latch function, which basically does the reverse of whatever is happening here. So if I click on it while it's off, it's actually going to go back on, which is quite nifty and can be useful. And then at the end here, we have the super randomize button, so to speak. And if you click on it and you, let's say, put on 2 here, after it does the second loop, it will randomize. So once every 2 loops, it starts randomizing. So that's quite an interesting feature, and it just can get you a lot more unique results every time it starts looping. So the last button here is actually potentially the most important one. It dictates whether it's in flow mode or in gate mode. And in gate mode, you can either activate or deactivate one of these. In flow, you can actually assign a specific level to all of these. So let's just say we're doing something like this. It's quite easy to see what it's doing. And you can easily see how you can even get these crazy differences in volume that makes the pad even more stereo. That's one of my favorite features of this, and it's something you don't really find in a whole lot of other gate plugins. Then when we get to the proper sequencing window, we see that we have the subdivisions. So for instance, let's put 1, 1. That means that each one of these will be 1 bar long. And if we go to 164, it means that one of these will be a 64 note. Then next to that, we have the number of steps in the sequence. So let's say we want to go for something like 8 and make these 8 notes. And maybe let's say we randomize this in gate mode. And here you can assign how many of these you want in gauge. So let's say you only want 4. Which is quite cool. And then you can have the whole lot if you want. And you can also shift your pattern to the right or to the left with these buttons and then copy these so you have the exact same one, although you can switch to mono if that's the case. So this button is actually quite interesting. Let's say you find a pattern that you like, but a couple of those steps don't really sound that good. So you can click on lock and then select the ones that you like. And then when you hit randomize, everything else changes but those notes that you locked in, which is quite an interesting feature. And then let's assume I'm happy with that. I'm gonna take these out. You can't really see them that well, but below these main steps you have these dots, and if you click on them, it just subdivides it, either having a gap or in 2s or 3s, and it's gonna sound something like this. And then if you go here to the density button, let's say we put 3 and then start adding some of these subdivisions. We can then cycle through some of these randomizing patterns. Next to that, we have some presets, and these could be pretty interesting. You do have quite a selection of them. And let's say we go for this one. And you can extend it. So that's a cool panning effect using the flow function. Let's say we go for something like this. And let's change to 32. And let's go to stereo. Which is pretty cool. Then we also have the disintegrate or reintegrate, if you want to call it, function. So if you click on it, it's gonna start taking steps out with each cycle. So let's put this on 1. So it went from all of that stuff to nothing in one loop. So let's put 2, let's hit randomize. And then it got to 0. And then this one just does the exact same opposite. Let's say we have a pattern here, we don't want it to disintegrate. And then we also have this feathering, and it basically just smooths out the differences in these level jumps. So let's see, now it's at 50. Let's see what it sounds like without any feathering. You hear a sharp attack at the beginning, and with this one, it's almost like you're getting into this flow territory. So that's quite cool. You also have the option of adding a bit of shuffle to this, which is awesome. And then here you have the wet dry knob, so maxed out or nothing. So you can get some crazy sounds. This almost sounds like a Leslie speaker, so you can do a lot of stuff with this. And did I mention that this plugin is absolutely free? So there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't get this. It's one of the best gate plugins I've ever tried. I've already used it on a couple of projects, so I would definitely recommend you giving this a go. I mean, just get it. You'll end up using it, I promise. So I'm gonna leave you with just some basic examples. I'm gonna play the pattern and then randomize these and just go through some cycles so you can get a better sense of what this plugin can do. So that's all for now. Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you next time.